Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to round 2 of the Crush Card Cup 2020. Of course, big shouts to all of our sponsors for providing some incredible prizing for this event. Ultimate Guard, Project CCG, as well as We Play Games. Be sure to check out their links down in the description for all of your Yu-Gi-Oh card and accessory needs. But we've got a good one. We've got Eldlich once again going up against Salamangreat. Salamangreat, one of the older decks of the previous format, still looking to be a very strong contender in this format. And of course, we have Mr. MBT Yu-Gi-Oh himself for live commentary. Joseph, how you feeling about this matchup?
I'm feeling pretty good. I like Salamangreat, big fan of the deck. I'm happy that it has the staying power to survive in a combo-heavy format like this one. We will see if it uses its control tools effectively to edge out the win over a deck that is a lot more competent than it is at this point in time, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I should also say that this Salamangreat deck is specifically being piloted by Raphael Neven, so very, very prominent player over in Europe. And I think it's so cool with this tournament that people are playing from all around the world. We have people in Tunisia, in South Africa, like players that would never have the opportunity to play against each other. Such a global event that we're playing here. So Raphael's just going on doing his normal Salamangreat thing. Starting off with Lady Debug plus a Signet Mining. I mean, you got to feel pretty good about that. He's going to dump a Falco here to be able to get the Gazelle back into his hand to recycle it that way. You might be able to start off on a rank 4 play, so going in blind here, this could be pretty good.
Yeah, if you're playing against Eldlich, you can easily make Beastdweller as a rank 4. Or Baguska. That's a very interesting one. This makes me feel like he doesn't know what his opponent's on, because obviously it has very mixed utility against that deck specifically.
It's kind of tough, right? Because both cards are incredibly strong in their own right, and so, like, blind, unless the meta is so graveyard heavy, maybe Raphael's fearing going up against Adamancipator because that deck is so reliant on effects on the field. So, but now we see the Extravagance, so you know he's not on that deck, and that can pretty much telegraph he's on either Eldlich or maybe some of the other older roguish decks, and then evenly matched, so that's a pretty good way to kick things off here.
It's okay. I mean, you probably keep the Baguska, even though you've seen the Pot of Extravagance. Maybe your opponent's on an extremely greedy Adamancipator deck, for example. But Cursed Eldland coming down showcases that, yep, it's going to be Eldlich, and you are going to have to contend with the effect of Lord targeting this copy of Baguska.
To be fair, we have seen Extravagance Spiral, so, you know, if there's any sort of...
Don't remind me.
Greedy combo decks playing Extravagance does exist in some capacity.
That would be a deck that would be well represented online, but never in paper, because it is so prohibitively expensive.
Of course. So now we see the Golden Lord sacking himself, as well as a spell card to be able to remove the Baguska. That's going to bring Gazelle out, since a Salamangreat monster did hit the graveyard. Gazelle's not going to be able to dump. You already have Falco, so it looks like he's going to go for Jack Jaguar, which is probably your next best option there. And now we're going to see him go ahead and send that Eldland to the graveyard, summon the Golden Lord back out to the field, most likely, and then we get to trigger Eldland. It's so good.
Oh, great. Another fun interaction. I gotta say, Gazelle triggering when an Xyz material is sent to the graveyard, provided it's a Salamangreat. Ooh, that really riles me up.
So now we see just a couple of cards being set here from Chris. Actually, the full gamut. We are going to have this Conquistador resolve here in end phase to set one of our Eldlixir spells or traps. We're going to go for Scarlet Sanguine, which is most likely the card you're going to see players get if they don't already have it, since it will be able to resurrect Golden Lord back from the grave, or specially another from deck, to ensure that all of your Golden Lord spells and traps will be active for the following turn.
Yeah, kind of the only way that Eldlich falls behind is if it's unable to get Golden Lord onto its side of the field. So getting cards that make sure that you'll always have access to the big golden boy is a surefire way to remain ahead. Now going for the Salamangreat Falco, putting the Gazelle back in hand. I mean, wow, just getting to activate Gazelle every single turn here.
Yeah, this is where the deck can really shine, especially if you have Falco online, but not if there's a skill drain that gets flipped.
I mean, this is why people thought this deck was going to be powerful looking at OCG builds on triple skill drain. It turns out one is enough and is going to take the game.
Yeah, Salamangreat, I mean, it's, again, there are ways to deal with it. For example, Foxy will resolve its popping effect because it activated in the graveyard, so that would be able to dispatch of it. But without any way to get that Foxy in the graveyard, Skill Drain can almost just lock the game up entirely if there's no spell and trap removal in the form of spell and traps in game one. But
now,
game two...
this is interesting.
Yeah, looks like Raphael is opting for Chris to go first here. Very interesting.
So I kind of like this. Without access to Black Eldlixir, which is a fantastic sack, it makes a lot of sense because it's very difficult to get the Eldlich the Golden Lord into the graveyard, and it opens you up to these really powerful going second haymakers like Lightning Storm and Evenly Matched.
And that's going to be met by Solemn Judgment, though, so are we going to see a follow-up? No, it doesn't look like it. I like the theory, though, right? If you play this stuff like Evenly Matched or the Lightning Storm to just completely blow them out, Lightning Storm actually wouldn't because they would just all trigger on end phase, but Evenly Matched more specifically. But now we get to see Raph has a clear path with his Lady Debug to be able to just get his board set up here. We are going to see Conquistador, though, unfortunately.
One of the things about playing something like a Lightning Storm while blinding second against Eldlich is that it's not too bad for Salamangreat specifically. You know, Salamangreat can Lightning Storm, and before they can activate all the end phase effects, go into something like an Abyss Dweller and say, you've got exactly 2 turns to figure out how to access your game state, and if you don't, I'm going to run you over.
Can we just pay attention to... Whoa! We can pay attention to that Imperial Order that just came down. But I was going to say, Raphael opened Signet Mining plus Lady Debug both games, which is pretty good. But Imperial Order negating the Signet Mining. Gazelle will still be able to come down since Spinny hit the grave. And because he got rid of Spinny off that mining, Raphael still has some plays here.
Yeah, this is a little frustrating, you know. Signet Mining, of course, is the card you want to be negating with Imperial Order, but if they've already got the Gazelle, it's actually not too big of a deal for Salamangreat to dispatch of. Very frustrating that the Eldlich player has found Skill Drain and Imperial Order game-winning one-ofs in both matches.
In Game 2, nonetheless. Imperial Order isn't specifically strong against Salamangreat. It's okay. They do play some very powerful spells because they have, Signet Mining, Will, Sanctuary is kind of, hit or miss. But that's really it, right? They don't play, 10 to 15 spells in the deck entirely. So Imperial Order, aside from hitting those specific cards, isn't going to do a whole lot here. We're going to see Raphael link up into a Sunlight Wolf. And again, this is one of the reasons why Salamangreat is so strong, is that it's able to just continuously play through all these types of disruptions and essentially end on the board that it wants to. Raphael's going to get Gazelle back to the hand here, and now we're just going to see him go for another copy of Balinx just to wall up a little bit, and we're probably going to see a Heat Leo come down and get rid of that Imperial Order, turning spells back online.
Wow, that's pretty good. One of the things about Imperial Order that has caused a lot of people in playing Eldlich to cut it from the main deck is that while it is obviously an extremely powerful card, you're really only getting one negation out of it and breaking a couple of cards in your opponent's hands. We're in a monster-centric metagame, so there's some decks that don't particularly care about it, and more importantly, Eldlich has a really hard time closing out games. So sometimes you just get to play the long game against decks like Salamangreat, and they wait for it to expire.
So here we see Eldlich being switched to attack mode, attacking over the Heat Leo, but Raphael does have the Balinx engrave, so that Heat Leo is going to stick around, and it looks like we just might be going to end phase here to be able to banish that Black Awakening and set a new copy of Conquistador into Chris's back row. And
that is so weak.
Yeah, that is not the turn that Chris was looking for. They're not really able to capitalize just on the relatively weak board state that Raphael was on, but even so, if you're Raphael, you gotta be feeling pretty good at this point.
For sure. I mean, Conquistador is an incredibly powerful card, but its utility is basically only online until the first Balinx makes it to the field. Correct. Then all of a sudden, the replacement effect means that you can prevent any of your Salamangreats, which are the cards that your opponent will be trying to hit with Conquistador from being destroyed, and it looks like we're going to that Balinx right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as Raphael can continue to get these Balinxes in the graveyard, he's going to essentially have a way to play around this Conquistador, and it's not really going to be too effective here. Gazelle coming down now. This is where things are going to start to snowball in Raphael's favor. He can now get the Rage. Rage is just going to be a blowout if he's able to Reincarnation Link summon that Heat Leo. But we are going to see Conquistador here.
It's the last time you can activate it.
I was about to say, there's no Balinx engrave at the moment, so, I mean, he's got to do it now or never, but there's the Roar to counter it.
Oof, yikes. And that's got to be the end of the game. That's a use of Conquistador's effect, and the remaining monster on board is a Conquistador as well, so he's not going to be able to activate the Conquistador effect in graveyard at the end of the turn. I mean, it's just a lot of setup you've just lost for that.
Yeah, and now he's going to be able to use the Sanctuary. He can Reincarnation summon the Heat Leo, be able to bring the Eldlich Golden Lord down to size, and be able to clean this board up rather easily here. We're going to start by summoning Jack Jaguar, though. And that's actually even bigger, because now he could potentially make Abyss Dweller and just really lock this game up.
Yo, can we see Transcode Talker? Every time I see Transcode, I forget how large that monster is. It gets huge almost immediately.
So here comes the Reincarnation Summon of Heat Leo. Keep in mind that we're actually going to see Roar get set here as well. There's Update Jammer.
We
might
are
just
seeing
see
it.
I think he's only on 4,000 life points. I think this might be enough to OTK.
Solemn Judgment. This is massively lethal.
Right, yeah, Transcode Talker effectively being the OTK that Salamangreat desperately needs to close that damage threshold. But here we go, Update Jammer being resurrected off of the Transcode Talker here. Heat Leo's using its Reincarnation Link Summon effect to make the Golden Lord down to... but there's Nibiru!
Oh, that's rough. While the Nibiru, of course, is extremely powerful, Salamangreat has a rough time playing around this card. Even in the best hands, it's not that great for the Eldlich player. They can't activate the effects of Conquistador at end step. The best they're going to get is one Eldlixir at this end step, and I don't think they can actually out the token very easily.
Right, I mean, that was just... but Eldland's
Oh, well, maybe they can.
I mean, that Nibiru was his lifeline. He needed that card to resolve. And looks like Raphael's going to think about this. Ash! Okay,
Ooh.
So that's a nice counterplay there from Raphael, being able to stop that. If anything, being able to stop that Eldland might make it so that he'd be able to turn this around. We're going to send Eldland to the graveyard to be able to bring Golden Lord back. He is going to be pumped up. And so now
it's frustrating trying to Ash cards like Cursed Eldland, because obviously you don't want them to resolve in any capacity, and he's still going to be able to plus massively from it. But the difference between having a Lord in hand to destroy the token and not is kind of game-winning here.
Yeah, it's incredible. So now we just have this Nibiru token. I mean, unfortunately, it's not going to be able to really hit over the token that was destroyed, that tributed everything off. But now we get to see why Eldlich is such a powerful deck. We saw that, Chris was kind of against the wall here, but now look, he's able to banish all of these cards, get an Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine and of White Destiny, and, he's kind of back in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he doesn't really have any interruption for this turn. So if Raphael's able to pop all the way off and go through a line of powerful Link monsters, then he'll be able to take it. But that's going to be way harder without access to Heat Leo and the ability to cleanly get this destruction impervious Golden Lord off of the field.
Absolutely. If he wanted to get one of those Heat Leos back, he would have to shuffle it back with the Jack Jaguar off of a Link point from one of his Salamangreat Link monsters. Not that that's impossible, it's just he has to go through the extra steps. We already knew he had the Gazelle in hand, so now we're going to get to see this trigger. Man, this card just always continues to impress me. I don't know about you.
It's currently an FTK, right? With Clock Wyvern? It just does everything.
So now Falco gets to come back out to the field, bounce Gazelle back to the hand, so that way Raphael's a continuous stream of resources. Spinny can come back out here. This is really good because now we can put both of these into a Sunlight Wolf, bring back the Jack Jaguar, and then he can just go into Heat Leo from there. So we're going to see if that's the line he decides to go. It looks like it. Yep, going to shuffle back the Heat Leo. And also keep in mind that Raphael also has the Roar in the back row that he set off of the Reincarnation Link Summon of Heat Leo the previous turn. So he also has protection as long as he controls a Link monster up, which is, again, just one of the best strengths of Salamangreat.
Yo, that might have been a pretty big misstep out of the Eldlich player. They just allowed the resolution of the Sunlight Wolf's effect, adding the Ash Blossom back. I mean, now Scarlet Sanguine is going to be off for the remainder of the turn, and Roar is going to be able to easily dispatch with this copy of White Eldlixir. It's possible we just switch this token to attack position and get in for lethal here.
Potentially. So, we're going to Reincarnation Link summon the Sunlight Wolf. This is going to drop the Gazelle. Keep in mind, he normal summoned it earlier in the turn, and again, this is why Gazelle is just so good. We're going to get Rage back to the hand here with the Reincarnation Sunlight Wolf effect. We're going to switch that Nibiru token to attack mode, and Jaguar is going to get that piercing damage in over that Nibiru, so we're going to take the 1200 damage there, and this, I think, is lethal, because Ash Blossom's going to deal with the Scarlet Sanguine, and that might just do it. Yeah. So we're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, yeah, huge misstep. I think I would have shotgunned that Scarlet Sanguine, and then you at the very least have blockers. Salamangreat, it's very difficult for them to get over a monster with 2800 defense, but they can if they've got a 9 quadrillion attack Nibiru token on their side of the field. And Lady Debug for the 3rd game in a row.
Hey, you know what? It's at 3 now, so we take it.
Yeah, I can't be that mad about it.
Yeah, so we're going to get Gazelle to hand here. Interesting, if you noticed, that Chris allowed Raphael to go first this time.
Wow. So both players have gotten to go their preferred position all games, right?
I believe so, yeah. And, and the circle open as well. Incredible.
Oh, Raphael looking like every Salamangreat player I've ever had to play against right now.
So here comes the Gazelle now. Gazelle's going to go ahead and dump. Curious, he already has the Spinny engraved, so at this point, probably go for either Jack Jaguar or the Trap, depending on what else is already in your hand. Again, when you're playing Salamangreat, your Heat Leo isn't going to be like summoning on your opponent's turn, and they have no back row right now, so you kind of just have to do your traditional Salamangreat things, which it does very well. Set up your grave for the following turn, and just do your best to stave them off, so then on the follow-up, you can just Heat Leo all their back row and try to OTK them with Transcode Talker.
Yeah. And of course, this is something that Raphael does basically every game. The only difference is Eldlich is one of the very few decks that can actually contend with that line, that can negate critical portions of that setup, and that can destroy existing monsters on the field. We see an add back of Salamangreat's Circle, and it looks like probably at least one of the Salamangreat traps.
And just dropping Nibiru at end of main to dispatch of the Sunlight Wolf, turning off either of the Salamangreat traps if Raphael did manage to hard draw them. We can pretty much assume one of those back row is Circle, allowing Raphael to get a search during his opponent's turn. But Nibiru into Pot of Extravagance seems pretty good.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. Pot of Extravagance, of course, an extremely powerful draw spell that's kind of lacked a home. It's going to eat an Ash, but honestly, as someone who has played a lot of Pot of Extravagance, if Pot of Extravagance read get an Ash out of your opponent's hand, it would pretty much be the exact same card and exactly as playable as it is right now.
Now, this is cool. I like seeing Galaxy Cyclone here from Chris. He unfortunately did hit the Salamangreat Circle, so there wasn't really much of an exchange there. But, I mean, now he has the ability to take care of something else a little bit later on. You've got some synergies with the deck itself as well, which is another reason why some people play it. Just a really cool card all around.
Whoa, this is rough. One of those set cards has got to be Scarlet Sanguine, or this might be the end of the game.
Possibly. We did get a little bit of a glimpse of what one of those back row was, and that was a skill drain, so...
well, in that case, maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah, Pot of Desires, though, now coming down from Raphael, that is most likely going to resolve. That card is perfectly playable in Salamangreat, as long as Gazelle's already out of the hand, which Raphael did get on turn 1. Here comes Falco now. If he does anything with that Falco, he will then be able to get Gazelle to the board, and now he can also trigger Falco as well, if he so wishes, take that Circle back set, but I think you'd rather save it for... Oh, looks like he's going to set it. Okay. I was going to say, you could also just save it to get Gazelle back in your hand, just so you don't have to worry about it off of Sunlight Wolf, but now we're going straight to Jack Jaguar, and now we're going to probably see some Heat Leo plays, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's 3 set spells and traps. I do like that because we know one of these set cards is Skill Drain. We can wait as long as possible, bait our opponent into going into as many effects as possible before deploying it right now.
Ooh, but Raphael
has a Cosmic.
That is really huge here, because now Raphael's going to be able to trigger the Sunlight Wolf as well to be able to add back any of his cards. This means Heat Leo is going to be able to resolve and take care of both of the remaining back row in tandem with Salamangreat Sanctuary, of course, and could take out the Nibiru token as well. Raphael's going to be in a very strong position after this turn, depending on what those last 2 back row cards are from Chris here.
Right. The Galaxy Cyclone 50/50 really costing him a lot right here. The 2 set cards, if they're Golden Land cards, are going to be no problem for Heat Leo to spin. If they are Eldlichers, it might be a little bit of a rough scenario.
Ooh, an Imperm for the Heat Leo. You know, you'd think that'd be good, but it doesn't matter because it's really just a minus when you have Salamangreat Sanctuary to be able to reincarnation summon the Heat Leo, summon another one, and now there we go. That is it. Chris just admits defeat. He sees the writing on the wall, and Raphael moving on to round 3 with a 2-0 record.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the very few positions where Eldlich can easily fall behind and lose the game out of nowhere. No access to Golden Lord means you're not able to recur any of your spells, and you're run over by monsters like Heat Leo.
Absolutely. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next match.